What's your creepiest real life story? Okay, so even though this isn't supernatural or creepy or anything, it was fucking scary. I live in Sydney, AUS, and this was probably just over a year ago. I was driving with my girlfriend back to my home after going out to dinner at her friend's house in Bondi, which is about 15 minutes away from my area called Watson's Bay. To get back to my place you need to drive down into the valley near the harbour down a long winding main road that progressively takes you down to the water. It was around 1:30 or 2 AM and we were making our way down the road not really paying attention to much, and she suddenly grabs my arm and gasps, which freaked me out already. As I'm looking around as to what the fuck is going on, we approach the roundabout and there is a man in medical looking attire next to a woman in what looked like white pajamas, with blood covering a lot of her clothing. Now obviously my balls drop and instinct kicks in as I speed up. It's quite a small roundabout, so I need to either slow down enough to turn left, or speed up and nope the fuck straight out of there. I go straight, and as we go past the woman attempts to launch herself at my car as the man looked like he was trying to stop her. I speed off. We get home about 3 or 4 minutes later and we're both shaken and basically scared shitless. Called the police to inform them of what we just saw, and got a call back the next afternoon explaining how a woman had somehow run away from a mental home and was attempting to commit suicide using sharp objects and running onto main roads. The man was one of the first workers who knew her on the scene and apparently they managed to bring her back to where she lived. Heard nothing more after that. TLDR. Driving home with girlfriend late at night. Some crazy bitch tries to stab herself and throw herself at my car. My grandfather owns several forests around the village he lives in, and he drives through them every week to check how the trees are doing and whether something needs to be fixed. He really loves his trees and has a sharp eye for any potential sickness or insect that could pose a threat. A decade or two ago, hitchhikers were very common, even in the thinly populated areas of Bavaria. He encountered them regularly and was always happy to help. He literally picked up every single hitchhiker he found. One day, however, he had a bad feeling about one. Without any reason, he dismissed this one hitchhiker standing on the side of the path. Later that day, there was a radio broadcast about a previously convicted murderer who killed someone in the woods and got caught trying to flee by hopping onto someone's car. Just writing this down makes me shudder again. Not very many creepy things happen to me, so sorry if this story is a bit dull, but it did freak me out a little at the time. A few years ago, when I was 14 or so, I was out walking my dog, a Hyper Chesapeake Retriever mix, in a rural suburban area. It was a fairly quiet road. A car would breeze by once every 5 minutes or so. An old grey Toyota Corolla or some car like that passed by. Nothing unusual. But a minute later, this car passes again, and the car slows down a ton when it's coming toward me, giving me the impression this guy was checking me out. This guy ends up passing up and down the road stalking me. I end up faking having a cell phone and talking to someone on the other end, in case he got any ideas. The dog gave me a sense of security too. After maybe the 6th or 7th time this guy does this, I duck into the woods to hide. He swings by twice more, and I wait 10 minutes to see if he comes back. He doesn't. I end up running back home, with a very confused and disappointed dog. I think later on there was a news story that matched my stalker's description and was charged with attempted rape. Could be wrong though. Still, creepy. I didn't go for a walk for about a week after that. Hello everyone. A very quick intermission if I could. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing if you have already. While my main focus up to this point has been on LGBTQ issues, sex and sexuality, and mental health issues, I'm very interested in hearing what subjects you'd like to hear about next. Please leave a comment and subscribe, and I'll do what I can to accommodate your interests in addition to delivering my regular content. Now back to the video. Well, now I can tell my story. This is the first of 2 instances. First, I was alone in the basement, playing GTA IV with my friend on my PC. It gets to about 1 AM and we're having a blast, shooting RPGs and throwing grenades willy-nilly. Then I hear a sound that really doesn't fit with GTA. I figure it's not coming from my headset, so I take it off. The sound that's being made is coming from an old music box that we have. The last time it was used was probably 10 years ago, and this thing is just full on blaring its song. I start chanting no 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 and book it upstairs, leaving my friend on Skype pretty confused. My mom and dad are coming down from their room, my dad equipped with a baseball bat. As you can imagine, it was hard to explain to them that it was not an intruder. My second instance was in the same basement. Now, my basement has a main area where most of our furnishings are, and a satellite room off of that. Then, there's the unfinished part of the basement where I'm sure the spirits dwell, but I digress. I'll post pics of the basement if this gets popular. Anyway, this time I'm playing GTA IV again with the same friend. It's about 1 AM again, and we decide to call it a night. I'm browsing Reddit while I cool down from video games with my headset off to let my ears take a break. It's at that point that I hear da-da-da-da-da-da read with two little girl voices from the bowels of the unfinished part of the basement. Now, it's pitch black around me except for my island of salvation at my computer. At this point, I'm just so fucking done with ghosts that I say, fuck it, fine. Have the basement and go upstairs and go to bed. There are a couple more instances of spuddy GHSTS but they're not as scary as these two. Also, here's another ghost tale from the basement. I was taking a piss in the restroom, which is to the right of the stairs. The wall connecting the restroom to the unfinished part of the basement is very thin. While I'm peeing, I hear a man go ahem, clearing his throat, on the other side of the wall. On my part, I just say hello several times before leaving to kill some more commies. And yes, I am 100% sure there wasn't a murderer or rapist in there. I'm down here for way too long for anyone to sneak past me. When I was little, around 8, I hated going to the dentist. He always made me uncomfortable for some reason. I remember thinking his smile stretched too far and seemed forced, like clowns. Anyway, my mom always came with me and went back so I wouldn't be scared. One day, my dad had me, divorced parents, and had to take me to the dentist, but tried to make me go back alone so he could sit out in the lobby doing whatever. The assistants had to literally drag me back to the room and you could hear me screaming and crying down the hall, refusing to sit in the chair. Finally, my dad came back to get me. Irritated I'd made a scene, he rescheduled my appointment to when my mom would have me, and we just left. He made a big deal about how bad I was acting and told my mom she was spoiling me and all sorts of shit. 2 weeks later, it's on the news that my dentist was charged with child pornography after molesting children under anesthesia and photographing it. When I was in middle school, my friends and I were hanging out on a trampoline in the backyard late at night, maybe like 11 PM or so. The backyards are all connecting, meaning there is trees and small fences separating them but you can walk through them. Some guy comes through and asks if we have seen a little orange tabby cat and we told him no. He said he lives around the corner, if we see it he will give us a reward. Okay, cool. We think nothing of it and go back to talking about Pokemon cards and why Charizard is a god on paper. No joke. 2 minutes after this guy leaves, this little car wanders through and we think is that the cat he was talking about. My friend grabs it and we all proudly march to the guy's house to collect our reward. The guy is sitting on his front porch and we bring the cat to him. He's so excited and says, "Oh, I have the reward inside, just come in and I'll give it to you." We were kinda sketched out but we decided to go in and to stay. He says, "Oh, if you don't come in I can only give the reward to the ones that come in." He was gonna give $100 a person to go in. Still, we had 2 guys go in and take what felt like forever, but they came out and had $200 with them. They said there was plastic on everything in there and something felt wrong. I feel as though if we all went we would have been killed. But keeping 2 outside that knew where their friends were, I guess, was enough to deter him. Still was a weird occurrence. Thank you for watching. Smash that like button like it's a thick booty. And don't forget to subscribe to okpjdark if you like nice things, like new videos every day. See you tomorrow.